A strong MFA plan starts by prioritizing the people and systems that matter most, administrators and remote access points. The assessor checks that these accounts, which can pivot across environments, rely on phishing-resistant factors such as hardware tokens, cryptographic keys, or passkeys bound to trusted devices. This aligns with the intent of PCI Data Security Standard, PCI DSS Requirement 8, which demands layered authentication for accounts that touch cardholder data. What matters is not the brand of technology, but its resistance to relay or prompt spoofing attacks. During an assessment, you would expect to see configuration screenshots or policy exports showing which identity groups enforce these factors and where exceptions still exist. A common exam mistake is to assume any second step counts as multi-factor. But weak combinations, like a password followed by a short-lived one-time code over insecure text, do not meet the standard spirit. Mapping the full authentication surface is another skill the PCIP exam tests. An assessor traces every external entry point, management console, and privileged workflow to confirm that MFA policies apply consistently. This includes remote desktop gateways, cloud management interfaces, virtual private network portals, and administrative paths inside hosted applications. A secure design leaves no gaps between environments or identity stores. Policies propagate through directory synchronization or federation with explicit rules that show when MFA fires. The evidence might be a table of integration mappings, screenshots of conditional access policies, or exported configuration files. What the exam is looking for is your ability to reason about scope, understanding that a missed console is a missed control. It is not your job to install software. It is your job to know what proof demonstrates complete coverage. Weak factors remain a recurring risk, and text messaging is the most visible example. While short message service, SMS, codes once offered easy deployment, they are now vulnerable to interception, redirection, and social engineering. The assessor expects the organization to phase out SMS or voice-based codes where technology allows, and to document any remaining use with a clear risk justification and an expiration date. Proper documentation shows awareness of exposure and a plan to eliminate it, which demonstrates control maturity. On the exam, a question might test whether you recognize that MFA via SMS requires compensating controls to be considered sufficient. In a real assessment, you would verify that exceptions are approved, time-limited, and traceable to management acknowledgement, not just an informal acceptance buried in email. Push fatigue attacks illustrate why second factors must evolve beyond convenience. Device binding, number matching, or challenge confirmations prevent an attacker from flooding a user with approval prompts until fatigue leads to a wrong tap. When MFA is bound to a specific registered device and displays contextual information about the request, such as the originating location or the number to match, the control becomes both verifiable and user-friendly. An assessor would look for mobile device management policies or authenticator settings proving this behavior is enforced. For the PCIP exam, remember that usability features that prevent error are still part of security, because they preserve trust in the factor. The concept the test wants you to internalize is resilience against social manipulation, not just cryptographic strength. Recovery and help desk flows matter as much as initial enrollment because attackers often target them. A resilient design uses step-up verification before allowing credential resets, enforces cooldown periods between requests, and records each interaction for audit review. The assessor verifies that documented procedures align with these safeguards, including identity verification questions that rely on secure data rather than public information. Help desk staff should operate from controlled terminals with logged screens or session recordings to prove proper handling. In evidence form, you might see a written procedure, sample tickets, and annotated log entries. On the exam, you may encounter scenarios about bypass during reset or lost token replacement, and the correct choice will be the one that preserves multi-factor strength even when users need support. Session lifetime tuning connects security rigor to daily productivity. Administrators should face shorter token lifetimes and mandatory re-authentication for critical operations, while routine low-risk users may receive longer sessions to minimize disruption. The concept the PCIP exam tests here is risk-based session management, showing that security intensity scales with privilege. Assessors confirm this by reviewing configuration exports or policy JSON files that show different session values by role or group. The evidence should demonstrate a deliberate balance. Too short leads to unsafe workarounds, too long invites unattended access. When asked on the exam how to evaluate session settings, focus on risk alignment and documented justification rather than arbitrary numbers. Adaptive or contextual MFA provides a second layer of defense through analytics rather than brute repetition of steps. It factors in device health, geographic location, and behavioral anomalies to challenge risky sessions more aggressively. From an assessor's viewpoint, adaptive controls must still produce verifiable evidence, policy exports showing which signals trigger prompts, and logs that record risk decisions with timestamps. The PCIP exam may pose a question about continuous authentication or risk-based step-up, and the correct interpretation is that these methods complement, not replace, standard multi-factor enforcement. In practice, an assessor ensures that adaptive logic reduces false positives and does not create discriminatory bias across user populations, since usability remains a compliance consideration. Continuity planning extends to authentication. When networks fail or devices are lost, users still need a secure way to log in. Hardware tokens and modern passkeys aligned with FIDO standards offer offline options that keep MFA functioning during outages. The examiner expects you to know why continuity matters. A control that collapses during incident response is not resilient. Assessors review inventory records of backup tokens, issuance logs, and testing reports proving that alternate factors work without lowering assurance. Evidence might include screenshots of token assignment systems or procedures describing emergency distribution. The key takeaway for the exam is that fallback methods must equal or exceed the assurance of primary factors, never drop below them. Monitoring closes the loop between policy and reality. Reviewers check for alerts on MFA failures, bypass attempts, and unusual enrollment patterns. Spikes in failure rates can indicate phishing campaigns or usability breakdowns that require tuning. Evidence includes dashboard screenshots, incident tickets, and summary reports showing investigation timelines. The PCIP exam often frames this concept as verify continuous control operation. It is not enough to enable MFA once. You must ensure the system stays effective and monitored. As an assessor, you would sample logs across systems to confirm correlation and timely response to anomalies, ensuring that authentication resilience is measured by feedback, not assumption. Break glass procedures form the safety net beneath the net. These are documented emergency access paths for situations where MFA systems fail or external identity providers go offline. The assessor ensures they are stored in sealed, auditable locations, often within a digital vault or encrypted file controlled by dual custody. Regular testing proves that break glass accounts still function and that use generates alerts visible to security operations. In a PCIP exam question, you might see an organization relying on untested emergency passwords. The right answer highlights the need for periodic validation and evidence of custody control. Assessors treat these procedures as part of resilience, not as a loophole for convenience. User awareness keeps human factors from undermining technology. Training should teach users to recognize and report prompts they did not initiate, suspicious push notifications, or unexpected code requests. Effective programs pair short, just-in-time reminders with onboarding materials so that MFA awareness grows naturally with daily habits. From an assessor's view, success looks like signed training rosters, quick reference guides, and response metrics from simulated phishing attempts. For the exam, understand that awareness is not optional. It is a validation element because people complete the control loop. Clear communication lowers false approvals and keeps help desk volume steady, which supports both resilience and usability. Evidence collection transforms operational activity into auditable proof. Enrollment rosters, MFA policy exports, exception logs, and help desk tickets all become tangible records that demonstrate ongoing compliance. Assessors verified that records are complete, time-stamped, and stored securely for the retention period defined in organizational policy. During the PCIP exam, you may be asked which artifacts prove an MFA control is functioning. The best answer includes both configuration evidence and operational results, showing design and performance in harmony. Remember that a good assessor connects the dots between a user in scope, the control that protects them, and the data that confirms enforcement. The easiest way to begin improving MFA posture is to pick one high-risk workflow and upgrade it to phishing-resistant factors this week. In an assessment scenario, that might mean moving privileged database access or remote administration through hardware keys tied to user identities. Record the before and after evidence, enrollment counts, successful logins, and any exceptions with justification. This single upgrade demonstrates practical progress and understanding of scope control, both of which the PCIP exam rewards. The message behind all these controls is simple. Secure authentication must be strong enough to stand up to modern threats and gentle enough that people keep using it correctly. The best MFA designs achieve both, and a professional assessor knows how to recognize that balance in the evidence trail. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.